What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what's really moving it today, and what shorts are up to. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is down 2.4%, new 52-week and all-time low of $2.01. So things aren't looking all that great for Lucid. 14.6 mil for volume. Market's been open 1 hour, so it's going to be relatively low volume. 57.2 mil is the average. No official news from Lucid itself. No SEC filings, and I do feel like that's part of the problem ever since they did unveil their earnings and also Gravity orders opening up. We are kind of left in the dark. Like, how is the ordering going for the Gravity? When actually is production? Because they've reiterated many times that production is going to kick off and commence in 2024. But I don't know. There's about, 6 weeks left, give or take. So it's, I don't know. I think a lot of investors are used to it at this stage in the game, but they shouldn't be. Nobody should be used to this level of just grayness. But one thing that did come out that's not necessarily the best is this. So Lucid did recall 1,539 Air sedans, and these ones, it can't be fixed by over the air. So it does need to actually be, looks like, rewired based on the description of this. But since October the 17th, all the Airs going forward have been manufactured correctly with the required, I guess, length of the electrical connection cords. So yeah, it is what it is, but I think this is just more icing on top of just the crap that Lucid is doing right now. So I don't know. I think a lot of people can all agree that we love Lucid's product. Just operationally and management, that has just been a complete gong show. And yes, Lucid can still turn things around, but keep in mind the markets are at all-time highs. That might not be the case when Lucid does decide to finally get their crap together and start to ramp up. The market might be pulling back. You never know, right? Can't foresee the future and whatever, but Lucid definitely has really slipped. And one thing that I would really like to know, I brought up a couple of videos ago how they did, the VP of marketing is gone. And this is the second individual, so he was a replacement. The first one from 2021 is he bombed. But who the hell is handling their marketing? That's one thing that Peter has openly stated, is the fact that their marketing sucks. It's horrible, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So right now we have nobody doing marketing, where this is kind of one of the best or like most key times that you need it. Like, Lucid is just bleeding so much. Like, nobody wants to buy Lucid, and a lot of people kind of bring up 13 Fs from Q3. That's like delayed information. Nobody is buying Lucid. It's just, I don't know. That's my rant for the day. But as of right now, those shorts are increasing 482,000 shares. 23.83% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 284.23 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost per average is 1.38%. Utilization is 82.86%. And then short scores, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is sitting at 81.26. Moving over to options, 202,000 in calls, 96,000 in puts. 53% of all the options being done so far today are bearish. So clearly people are anticipating more downside. Even what I've brought up in the past, the Elliott wave technicals are kind of pointing for it to hit roughly the mid to kind of high ones. So that's definitely going to come to fruition. Just the biggest thing at this stage in the game is what is going to stop the bleeding. I think that's a better question. And it literally is the Gravity. That is the only catalyst. Next thing that they have for catalyst is midsize, and that's late 2026. So if Lucid does flop on the Gravity, it is almost a 1,000% guarantee they're going to be doing a reverse stock split and just diluting to kingdom come until midsize. Because yeah, no company will ever survive multiple years with no substantial catalysts. So they really need to hit a home run for this. But as of right now, moving over here, of the call options that are being purchased, kind of sporadic a little bit, but you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $2.50 to $2 range. And then looking at puts, you see a consensus for it to be sub $2. So yeah, people are anticipating for this to break. And yeah, I think in general, even the biggest bulls out there are starting to really look at buying puts just to kind of hedge on any potential downside. I don't think it's enough for them to actually sell, because I still, like myself, do really like the fundamental product, but things operationally just have not really worked. These are all the transactions that have occurred so far today on the secondary market. 2 sells, 2 buys. Yesterday, massive amount of selling. Day before, massive amount of selling. So the 2 buys, 103,000, 960,000, and then the 2 sells, 151,000, and then 205. As of right now, with it at 203, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So the next strong support is $1.83. Flip side, $2.14. And quickly going over to IBKR. Technicals are in just massive like bash. Like it looks horrible. This is probably one of the worst ones I've seen in a while. But so it is below the ALMA 5100 200-day moving averages, all well below that. Stochastic RSI, because of what happened here, it was trying to fight back. It kind of caused it to get overbought, as crazy as that is. So imagine if you didn't have some entities buying during this time frame. This would have been easily like $1.50. So it's kind of crazy to think of, but it is rather overbought right now. And MACD, even though it is just crazy low, it is rather bearish as well. So yeah, honestly, I think it's just, it is what it is. We just have to, if you are investing in Lucid, you have to think long term. But as I've mentioned, I would really recommend a lot of you to kind of research options, because you can choose all the way up to 2027. Hedge it with puts, calls. There's a lot of different variations of that. I think a lot of people just hear puts and assume it is associated to shorting, but it's so much more complex than that. It is definitely something to take the weekend, research options. I did a couple of videos in the past where I just talk on very vague stuff, very amateur stuff, just buying and selling calls and puts, what it does mean, what to do in what scenario, but you can get so much more complex than that. So take the time to research, better yourself as an investor, and then that way you can kind of mitigate some of the downside, if that makes sense. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Are you a buyer at this stage? Are you a seller? Where do you see it going in the short term? And even though Lucid is doing its thing, what you can do is take advantage of this promo, because it does give you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, and then over and above that, I launched a membership. So if you like the channel and support the growth, you can definitely join as a member. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.